philosophy, understanding secularism. Okay, so let's start now this chapter. Kids, secularism generally refers to the separation of reason from a state. जो सेक्युलरिज्म है वो वास्तविक रूप से धर्मों को स्टेट में रहने वाले विभिन्न धर्मों को अलग करता है. The state of request on the there are some discriminations, privations, exclusions and the torture done to the people based on the ये यहाँ तक कि इतिहास में जैसे देखा गया था जो भारत में रहने वाले लोगों के साथ धर्मों के अनुसार उन पर बहुत सारी वेदनाएं झेलने को मिली. They followed in the present civilized world methods like this, लेकिन present भारत में ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं. Tigers can be severe prevention to safeguard लोगों के समुदाय को विभिन्न धर्मों को मानने के लिए उनकी यातनाएं झेलने के लिए उस पर बाध्य किए गए सरकार की स्थिति को हम कमिटीज एंड प्रोटेक्ट ऑफ पर्सनल राइट्स लोगों को अपनी अधिकार है वह जिस धर्म को मानना चाहिए उसको मान सकता है. What is the Indian secularism? चलिए जानते हैं भारतीय सेक्युलरिज्म क्या है. The Indian Constitution maintains that the Indian states be secular. यहाँ तक कि भारतीय संविधान में जो मैंडेट्स किया गया है भारतीय संविधान एक सेक्युलर स्टेट है. According to the Constitution, only a secular state can release its objectives to ensure the following. Number first है, there is no religious community. यहाँ पे एक धार्मिक समुदाय जो होता है does not dominate another. यह इसके अलावा दूसरा धर्म नहीं अपना सकता. That some members do not dominate other members of the same religious community. यहाँ तक कि एक परिवार में रहने वाले सदस्य कोई धर्म को अपनाते हैं. Then the state does not enforce any particular religion nor they कहते हैं कि ऐसा भारत में ऐसा नहीं कि एक राज्य एक धर्म का है तो ऐसा नहीं है प्रत्येक राज्य में भिन्न धर्मों के लोग भी रह सकते हैं. The Indian state works in the various ways to prevent the above dominations. First, it uses the strategy of the distancing itself from reason. The Indian state is not ruled by a religious group and nor does it support any reason. In India, government spaces like new no-code policy institutions, government schools and offices are not supposed to display or promote any one reason. India adopted a strategy of separating the power of religion and the power of the state. It refers to the separation of the religious from the state. So, again, why it is important to separate religion from the state. It is important for a country to function democratically. Almost all countries of the world will have more than one religious group living in this. Within these religious group, या तक कि जो धर्म ग्रुप के अनुसार है, they will most likely to be one group that it is a majority. If this majority religious group has access to the state power, then it could quite easily use the power and the financial resources to discriminate against the proscribed persons of the other religions. The reality of the majority could result in the discrimination, correction, and strife even the killing of the religious minorities. Okay, check. The majority could quite easily prevent minorities from practicing their religious any form of domination based on religious invocations of the rights that the democratic society. Guarantees to each and every citizen respective to their religion. Therefore, the extremity of the majority and the violations of the fundamental rights that can result is one reason why it is important to separate the state. Our religion in democratic societies. Another reason that is important to separate religion from the state democratic societies is because we also need to protect the freedom of individuals to exit from their religion. And friends, another reason we have the freedom to separate भारत में प्रत्येक धर्म को अधिकार दिया गया कि सभी धर्म लोगों को एक साथ रहने की, एक साथ रहने का अधिकार। इंडिपेंडेंटली टीचिंग डिफरेंटली, सभी को धर्म का, सबका अपना अपना सिद्धांत है, सभी को मान ली अलग अलग योजनाएं हैं। To respect this point better, let's treat the purpose of the undisciplined. You might feel that you dislike the scriptures written in this and therefore you want to try and reform it. However, if the state powers were in the hands of those Hindus who support undiscipline, तो हिंदूज होते वो सपोर्ट करते हैं अनडिसिप्लिनिटी को, that you think that you would have an easy task to try and change this. Even if you were the part of the dominant religious group, you might face a lot of resistance from fellow members of your community. These members who have control of the state power might say that there is only one interpretation of Hindus. यहाँ तक कि भारतीय संविधान में केवल interpretations किया गया one God and one prayer. That you do not have the freedom to interpret this differently. चलिए आ गया secularism state. Perhaps one view of the preventing religious discrimination is to work together for mutual enlightenment. Education is one way of the helping to change the mindset of people. यहाँ तक कि शिक्षा करें एक ऐसा दायरा था जो सभी के लोगों की प्रवृत्ति को बदल दिया। Individual examples of the sharing and the mutual helps can also contribute towards reducing prejudice and suspicion between communities. It is always inspiring to read stories of Hindu savings, Muslims savings, Hindu कि हिंदू मुस्लिम को बचाए और मुस्लिम हिंदू को बचाए, ऐसी धार्मिक भावना रखी गई। लेकिन उसका क्या रिजल्ट निकला? हिंदू ने तो मुस्लिम को सेविंग्स किया, लेकिन हिंदू मुस्लिम से हिंदू को सेविंग्स नहीं किया। हिंदुस्तान में होता है दी पॉलिटिकल दैट बट इज लाइकली दैट मोर education or the awareness of the some person will elements religious discrimination. Okay, in modern societies, state have the enormous public power. How big function is born to make a critical difference to the outcome of any struggle to create a society. यहाँ तक कि यहाँ पर जो फंक्शन है इस बाउंड किया गया to make a critical difference के according to the outcome and struggle to create a society, जिसमें एक नए समाज की स्थापना की गई। लास्ट रीजन का इंटरप्रेट, इसमें सारी समुदायों को एक साथ जोड़ा गया। कंफ्लिक्ट सभी धारणाएं धर्मों को एक साथ रखा गया। For this reason, we need to see that what kind of the state is needed to prevent religious conflict and to promote religious harmony. Okay? चलिए, how should the state prevent dominations by the religious group? For a start, a state must not be run by the head of the any particular religion. A state governed directly by a priestly order is called theocratic. It's called theocratic states such as the papal state of the Europe in medieval times or in the recent times. The Tibetan controlled state. Lacking separations between religious and the political institutions are known for their hierarchies and the opposition and the resistances to allow freedom of religion of the members of other religious group. If we value peace, freedom and equality, religious institution and state institutions must be separated. Let us look at very different kinds of secularism proposed in the first half of the 12th century. The secularism was not about principle. जो सेक्युलरिज्म की भावना थी वो सिद्धांत के अनुसार नहीं थी, distant from originally religious instituted involved active interventions in the supervisions of religion. This version of the secularism was propounded and proposed by the Mustafa Kemal Atatürk. He came to power after the First World War. जब फर्स्ट वर्ल्ड वार के बाद मुस्तफा कमल अतुर्क को शासन दिया गया कि वो डिटरमाइन गुड एंड द इंस्टीट्यूशन ऑफ द खलीफा। जाके खलीफा इंस्टीट्यूशन को खत्म किया। The Brainwave Turkey Atatürk was convinced that only a clear break with the traditional heritage. अतुर्क थे वो अपने घर में लोगों को मिलाना चाहते थे एंड एक्सप्रेशन को एलिवेटेड तुर्की और उन्हें तुर्की बनाना चाहते थे। From the source was it he sat down in an aggressive manner to modernize and the secularism. Atatürk changed his family from Mustafa Kemal Pasha to General Atatürk. Atatürk translated as a father Atatürk. अतुर्क से माना जाता है जो तुर्की के पिता है उसे अतुर्क कहा जाता है। तो उसने उन लोगों को क्या करना शुरू कर दिया, तुर्की में मिलाना शुरू कर दिया। The fez, a traditional cap worn by the Muslim, जो fez था वो क्या था, ट्रेडिशनल कैप था जो मुस्लिम द्वारा पहनी जाती है, was bent, उस पर क्या कर दिया, उस पर बैंड लगा दिया by the head कि कोई भी मुस्लिम हेड नहीं पहनता। वेस्टर्न क्लॉथिंग वाज इंट्रोड्यूस्ड फॉर वुमेन, यहाँ तक कि जो पश्चिमी सभ्यता के कपड़े होते हैं वो महिलाओं को और आदमियों को पहनने के लिए दिए गए। और वेस्टर्न कैलेंडर रिप्लेस द ट्रेडिशनल तुर्किश कैलेंडर और वेस्टर्न कैलेंडर की जगह तुर्किश कैलेंडर को नियुक्त किया गया 1928 में। द न्यू तुर्किश अल्फाबेट लॉन्च की गई और was envisioned as secular that does not give you the freedom to keep the name, उसमें अपना नाम लेने के लिए तुम्हें अनुमति दी जाती है, उन्हें तुम्हें नाम लिखने के लिए अनुमति नहीं दी तब तक यह इजाजत ना दी। Indemnified to the way the dress were used, यहाँ तक कि तुम्हें कैसे कपड़े पहनने, कैसे चलना है, कैसे भाषा बोलने का ऐसा बड़ी डिसाइड करता है। In what ways do you think Atatürk's secularism is different from India's secularism? तो अतुर्क की जो सेकुलरिज्म थी वो भारत की सेकुलरिज्म बिल्कुल अलग थी। Indian model think of which we was already from of the secularism and promising यहाँ तक कि इतने अत्याचारों के बाद जब भारत का नंबर आया सेकुलरिज्म फॉर रिमेन था कंप्लीट अपोजिशन टू कम्युनिज्म, तो समुदाय सब उसके विरोधी हो गए और भारतीय संविधान को अपनाने लगे। Sometimes it is said that in the times भारत ने कहा कि जितने भी समुदाय हैं वो सब एक समान हैं। नेहरू was particularly served in the secular, नेहरू ने विशेष रूप से सेकुलरिज्म की भावना पर ध्यान दिया। Designing invitation for this criticism of the communism of the Western secularism और उन्होंने Western secularism को बनाया। But a majority community, लेकिन एक समुदाय के अनुसार response ना treat carefully with open national unity, लेकिन फिर भी भारतीय संविधान के लोगों को एक एकता में बांधे रखा। Secularism of him was constitution shows that this is not only a matter of principle, it was also not the case. In the legislature, secularism the only guarantee of the unity. जो भारतीय संविधान था वो गारंटी लेता था यूनिटी की और इंटीग्रिटी ऑफ इंडिया। Is fundamental different 170 from Western secularism. Relation is 2023 से 24 और grades, okay? Or seculars, political theory in the secularism does not focus only on choice, state separation, and the idea of the inter-religious heritage. Is critical to the Indian conceptions. Let us elaborate this further. What makes Indian secularism distinctive? Started off in the context of the religious diversity that predicted the advent of the Western modern ideas and the nationalism. There was already a culture of the inter-religious tolerance in India. However, we must not forget that tolerance is compatible with religious domination. It may allow some space of everyone that such freedom is usually limited. Besides, tolerance allows you to put with people whom you find deeply repugnant. This is a great virtue. If a society is recovering from a relationship war, but not in the times of peace where people are struggling for equal dignity and respect. Do you remember the hatred debates in the France over the French government actions This is the propaganda uses of religious. Okay, चलिए आगे है criticism of the Indian secularism में. Indian secularism has been subject to the Pharisee criticism. भारतीय संविधान में जैसे कि सेकुलरिज्म की भावना को अपनाया गया तो उसमें बहुत सारी आलोचनाएं. What are these criticism? Can we define secularism from them? Number first है anti-religious. First it is often argued. सबसे पहले बहस का मुद्दा बना कि सेकुलरिज्म इज एंटी-रिलीजियस होना चाहिए. We have to have shown that secularism is against institutionalized religious dominations. This is not the same as being anti-religious. Okay? So, similarly, it has been argued by people, यह लोगों का मुद्दा बना, that secularism presents religious identity. जो सेकुलरिज्म है वो जानता है कि धर्म के बारे में जानना सेकुलरिज्म कहलाता है. However, we are not as early जैसे कि हम जल्दी अनुमान लगाते हैं कि सेकुलरिज्म जो है promotes religious, वह हमें धर्म को स्वतंत्रता देता है उसे पढ़ने की, उसे समझने और समानता देता है. And it clearly protects. यदि हम वह प्रोटेक्ट है, religious identify rather than figures. Of course, it does undermine some forms of religious identity goals, which are dogmatic, violent, fanatical, exploitative, and those which foster hatred of the other religions. The real question is not whether somewhere is the undermined, but whether what is the undermined is interestingly worthy or unworthy. Check. That's an important. A second criticism is that secularism is linked to the Christianity. जो दूसरा criticism आलोचना की गई वो क्रिश्चियनों से संबंधित थी. It is the Western क्योंकि यह पश्चिमी थे. Therefore, unsuited to them Indian constitution. और वह भारतीय की दशा से खुश नहीं थे. On the surface, this is the strange complaint. For there are the million of the things India today. लेकिन आज भी भारत में ऐसे ही लोग रहते हैं, from trousers to the internet and the parliamentary democracy that have their origins in the West. One response therefore could be, so what? Have you heard of? Europe complained that because zero was invented in India, they will not work it. नगर की जैसे भारत में जीरो का आविष्कार हुआ, इसके बिना कोई कार्य नहीं हो सकता था. So, however, this is the somewhat shallow response. The more important and the relevant point is that for a state to be truly secular, it must have ends of its own. Western state becomes secular when an important level they jealous to the control of the established religious authority over social and political life. The Western model of the secularism is not therefore a product of the Christian world. What of the claim that is the Western? The mutual exclusion of the religious and the state, which is supposed to be the ideal of the Western secular society. Example is not defining features of all secular states. The idea of the separations can be interpreted differently by different societies. A secular state may keep a physical distance from reason to promote peace between communities, and it may also interfere to protect the rights of the specific communities. Okay, so this exactly is what has happened in India. India involved the value of the secularism, that is love. Just an event from the crust of the Indian soil. The fact is that the secularism has both Western and non-Western. Western and non-Western. यहाँ तक कि सबसे ज़्यादा जो प्रभाव पड़ा वो Western पर और non-Western पर पड़ा. In the West, it was a church state separation. क्योंकि जो state Western church थी, उसको separation अलग किया गया example and the country से, देश से और केंद्र से. Such as India, जैसे भारत से, the पीसफुल पर्सिस्टेंस ऑफ द डिफरेंट भारत में एक शांतिपूर्ण न्याय स्थापित करने के लिए रिलीजियस कम्युनिटीज को हैज बीन इम्पोर्टेंट, सबसे ज्यादा रिलीजियस कम्युनिटी को इम्पोर्टेंट दिया गया और सभी को अपने अपने स्थान पर सेटअप किया गया जिससे देश में शांति बनी रहे। नेक्स्ट माइनॉरिटीज थर्ड एसोसिएशन अगेंस्ट जो तीसरा संवाद शुरू हुआ वो हुआ सेक्युलरिज्म का चार्ज ऑफ द माइनॉरिटीज। It is true that Indian secularism advocates minority rights to so the question is यहाँ तक कि भारतीय संविधान में minority seats के भी बहुत सारी questions करने को is this justified? क्या यह न्यायपूर्ण है? Consider for adults in the compartment यहाँ तक कि उसको सुना समझा for a train traveling at the fastest speed में से लेकर और यहाँ तक कि ट्रेन की तरह उसको visible किया और उनका relations पे privilege को खत्म किया। In the middle of the journey, one of the four passengers किसी ट्रेन की चार यात्री होते हैं। उनमें से जो एक यात्री है express the desire to smoke, उसकी इच्छा है कि वह धुआं करे। The second one complaint, दूसरी की complaint है that can what be bear cigarettes, कि वह सिगरेट नहीं पी सकता। The other two passengers smoke too, but say nothing. दूसरे जो दो लोग थे वो भी स्मोक करना चाहते थे लेकिन उन्होंने कुछ नहीं कहा। Clearly, this is the complaint. Here, the two passengers and here the four passengers say a suggestion is made that it be resolved by vote. जिन्हें रिजर्व किया गया वोटों के साथ। But the two mild smokers go along with the addiction. लेकिन वो जो दो बड़े स्मोकर थे, उन्होंने देखकर सिचुएशन को उसको रोकना नहीं, अगर सिचुएशन को देखते हुए उन्होंने वैसे ही कार्य किया जैसे सिचुएशन में करने के लिए कह रही थी। नॉन स्मोकर इज डिफाइंड बाय द मेजर ऑफ द रिपोर्ट। यहाँ तक कि जो नॉन स्मोकर था उसे क्या था, उसे हरा दिया गया दो अन्य वोटरों के द्वारा क्योंकि वो सही का साथ दे रहा था और दो अपोजिशन पार्टी थी तो अपोजिशन पार्टी ने उसको सही पार्टी को हरा दिया। The person in the minority losses, but the result appears fair because a proper democratic protective adopted by the common agreement was for ये पूरी साम्राज्य में भ्रष्टाचार का शुरुआत होती चली गई और ये सभी लोग वो करते चले गए। Now I'll tell a situation a bit. Suppose that the non-smoker suffers from asthma. क्योंकि जो non-smoker था उस अस्थमा का शिकार हो जाता है, इसको भी कैन इंड्यूस लाइफ थ्रेटनिंग अटैक इन हिम। ओके, क्योंकि स्मोक ने उसके जीवन पर कैसे अटैक किया और वह अस्थमा का शिकार। This we find that the other person does not smoke expresses now his fundamental and very urgent interest. Would the producer previously followed of doing the decisions of the majority be fair in such a contest? Do you not think that the education smokers children will can't kill the train which is its destinations? You will agree that when it comes to the fundamental interest, voting as a democratic producer in an associate, a person has a parental to the satisfaction of his or her significant interest what falls to the individuals also holds for the communities. The most fundamental interest of minorities must not be harmed and must be protected by constitutional law. This is exactly how it is in the Indian Constitution. Majority rights are justified as long as these rights protect their fundamental interests. At this point, someone might say that minority rights are special preferences which come with some cost of others. Why should such special preferences by anyone? This question can be best answered by another example. Consider that a film is being shown in an auditorium on the first floor. The auditorium is accessible by a staircases. Everyone is free to buy a ticket, go up the stairs and see the film. For them, is everyone really free? Suppose that among every film users are some people who have recently everyone really free. Broken legs and others who have long been physically challenged none of them can really climb up. And climb up the stairs, do you think it would be wrong if I lift our ramp up to for people in which wheelchairs? Doing so enables them to achieve exactly what others really presume that the staircases. यहाँ तक कि एक शो किया गया कि शो में सबके टिकट फ्री कर दी गई और कहा गया कि तुम्हें चढ़ना है और टिकट देना है सबके लिए फ्री है, लेकिन उसके रिवर्स करने लगे कि व्हील चेयर कि तुम्हें व्हील चेयर की मदद से चढ़ना है, नॉट अ लेग्स. ओके. Yet this group in the minority needs a different mode of the generating of the first floor. इसलिए उसी तरह जो minority है वो भी किसी तरह का first steps है. If all spaces are distributed in such a way that they suit all young, apathetic persons, then some meetings of the person will forever be excluded from a single valuable such as watching a film. To make a separate arrangement for them is not according to any special treatment. It is to treat them with the same respect and the dignity with which all others are being treated. Thus, that minority rights need not be nor should be viewed and especially privileges. Okay? Check. Interventions and interventionist afford criticism claims. चौथा आलोचनात्मक मुद्दा था. Secularism is concrete and that the influence exactly with the religious freedom of communities. Yes, misreads in secularism भारतीय लोगों का misreads secularism में प्रति शोषण होना शुरू हुआ. It is true that by rejecting the idea of the separation, उनके विचारों को separation अलग कर दिया गया as mutual exclusion से. Indian secularism is that none interferes in religious, but it does not follow that it is extensively innovationist. Indian secularism follow the concept of principled distance, which also allows no for non-clear friends. Besides, friends need not automatically mean contrite interventions. It calls that through that Indian secularism permits the state support religious wants, but they should not be equated with a chain imposed for about with contrite interventions. But it might be argued, does it do this constantly? By health, personal laws of a religious communities not being reformed. This is the big dilemma facing the Indian history. Secularists might see the personal laws concerning marriage and affairs and other family matters which are governed by different religions as manifestations of community-specific rights that are protected by the constitutions. Or we might see these laws as an afford to the basic principle of the secularism on the ground that they treat women unequally and therefore unjustified. Personal laws can be seen as the manifestations of the freedom from interreligious domination or as instance of the interreligious dominations. Such internal conflicts are found in the process of any complex doctrine, but they are not something that we need to live with forever. Personal laws can be reformed in such a way that we continue to exemplify both minority rights and the equality between men and women. But such reform should neither be brought about the state of the group concerned, nor should the state adopt a policy of the total distance from it. The state must act as a practically by the supporting the bill and the communicative voices within every religion. Next is what by politics. What by politics? Fifth argument, the secularism increase the politics of world banking politics का and empirical claims it is not entirely false. कि वह जो भी एंट्री करते हैं वो सब गलत है. However, we need to put this issue in perspective. यहाँ तक कि जो मुद्दे वो इतने perspective नहीं थे. Personal democratic Europeans are going to see war. That is a part of their job है और केवल यही काम था and that is for democratic policies is last about to blame a politician for pursuing a group of people or promising to engage a policy with a motivation to secure their votes is unfair. यहाँ तक कि अपने अनुसार वोटों को सिक्योर करना कि जो भी वोट सिक्योर की जाती है वो गलत तरीके से की जाती है या सिर्फ पक्षपात की जाती है तो सबसे ज्यादा मुद्दा जो होता नंबर का वो था वोट बैंक का. The real question is what peacefully the vote is short for. यहाँ पर कि जो वोट होती थी उनको सही तरीके से ढंग से ना रखते थे बल्कि ऐसा भी होता था उसे दूसरी के बैलेट बैंक में क्या कर दिया जाता था सिलअप कर दिया जाता था. Is it to promote solid is the self-defense or the power or is it also for the welfare of the group in questions? If the group is voted, the group को voted किया गया for the politician does not get any benefits from this act. Basically, the political must be get political process bill किया गया. If similar politicians who serve the votes of the minorities also manage to give them what they want, then this is the sixth side of the secular project, which aims, after all, to also protect the interest of the minorities. Saying that what if the welfare of the group discussions is not at the cost of the welfare and the rights of others groups, what if the interest of the majority are undermined by these secular politicians? Then new injustice is born, but then you think of the such examples. Now, one or two, but a whole lot of that such that you can claim that the whole system is wicked in the favor of minorities. If we think hard, we might find that there is a little evidence that this has happened in India. In short, there is nothing wrong with vote bank policies as such, but only with the form of the vote bank policies that generates injustice. The mere fact that secular parties utilize vote bank is not troublesome. All parties do so in relation to some social group. चलिए आगे impossible present और final clinical criticism. Might be this secularism cannot work because it tries to do too much to find a solution to an intractable problem. What is this problem? People who deeply resist difference will never live together in peace. Now, this is when the emphatically false claim. Thus, the Indian civilization shows that the fact of the living together is realizable. It was realized as we are to the Ottoman Empire is a string examples, but now it is might say that coexistence under condition of the inequality was made impossible. Our government will find a place in a hierarchical arranged order. Upon the claim this is the will not be got to time and equality is increasingly becoming a dominant consumed values. Okay? So, again, there is another view of the responding to the criticism far from pursuing an impossible object in secularism. Will at the future of the world, a great experiment is being carried out in the Indian coast with razor sharp eyes, with great interest by the whole world. It is doing so because with the migration of the people from the former colonies to the west and the increased movement of the people intensifications of globalizations. Europe and America and some parts of the Middle East are beginning to resemble in the diversity of cultures and the religions which are present in their societies. These societies are watching the future of the Indian experiment with great interest. How Indian secularism is different from that of other democratic countries है. The strict separation between religious and the state in American secularism, while in Indian secularism, the state can intervene in the religious affairs. The Indian Constitution guarantees fundamental rights that are based on these secular principles. What seculars brings alongside? Religious freedom. Living in a secular state has numerous benefits, and the religious freedom is one of them. People are free to follow the religion of their choice or not follow them. The right to follow or be entirely free from any religion always best. With the individual residing in a secular state. Okay? Check. Next one, fair decision making. The independence of the state from religious group ensure fair decision making, which is the aim as the treatment of all religious and non-religious groups. Okay, no religious community can apply pressure to the state to make decision in their favor. Check. Freedom of speech, the ideology of the secularism also enables people to express their opinion and feel free, as in the secular state no religious group can exert pressure of the dominance. This has an enhancing effect on the right to speech in a democratic secular state. All ideas and the belief are expressed without fear and hesitations. Okay? Now kids, this chapter will be completed. I hope that you understood that. Thank you. Next week.